Welcome to the third episode of the FOG Napoleonics introduction to playing. In this episode we'll talk about commanders and how the command control rules work. So every army must have a corps commander and every division a division commander, and there are three levels of corps or division commander that you can have. The levels are exceptional, and you represent this with 3 ADCs or command points, a skilled commander who has 2 ADCs, and a competent commander, which would be the most common one you'll see, and they have 1 ADC or command point. What are the command points for? So they what units require to make complex move tests, which we'll talk about in the movement phase, in the movement section. So obviously the higher the quality of the general, the more complex moves you can make. Commanders also needed to rally units whose morale has dropped. And then in addition to having those 3 levels, the commander can also be charismatic. So you could have an exceptional charismatic or a skilled charismatic or a competent charismatic, and they assist with rallying in the cohesion test phase. So those are the types of commanders you can have and a little bit of the role that they play. In terms of command and control, so command points, as I've said, are required to make these complex moves. In the command phase, the player whose turn it is must estimate during the command phase which divisions he thinks will need to make more complex moves, and therefore send his ADCs to the divisional commander. So how does this work? So picture that you've got 3 divisions. You can see in the image here there's a skilled corps commander and then 3 divisions, 1 of them skilled and 2 of them competent. So as a player you're working out what moves you're going to need to make, and so you decide where to send the CNCs, the corps commanders, to ADCs or command points. So here's the situation at the end of the command phase. In this case, the skilled corps commander has decided to send 1 ADC to Division 1, giving that divisional commander now 3 ADCs or command points, so he can make 3, his units in his division could make 3 complex moves. Or complex move tests, and the Division 3 has received an extra one, so he's now got 2, and Division 2 will just have to manage with the 1. So that's how you send them. That happens in the command phase, the first phase of the turn. It's important to note from a command distance point of view, the corps commander has a radius of 20 inches or in movement units, and so the divisional generals need to be within 20 inches. Otherwise it would need 2 ADCs to send 1 command point, and this is halved if the commander-in-chief, if the corps commander is is attached to a unit, and down to 0 if he's in combat, and I'll talk a bit more about that now. So command ranges, so as I said, usually only 1 ADC is needed to send a command point, but 2 ADCs will be needed to be sent if the unit is out of command range of their general. So in this example, Commander E, he has a command radius of 8 MU for divisional commanders. Remember, it was 20 for corps commanders. So units A to D are all part of his division. C and D are within this 8 MU radius, so E only needs 1 ADC to send them 1 command point, but A and B are outside of that 8 MU radius, and so E would need to use 2 ADCs for 1 command point. Fortunately, in this case, A has a brigade commander as an attachment, and the brigade commander has a CP of his own, and so in this case, Unit A wouldn't need the assistance of their divisional commander to make a complex move. But if they wanted to make 2 complex moves, then they would need to receive 1 ADC, or in this case 2, because they're out of radius. This is a slightly different situation. So here the divisional commander is attached to the unit, and therefore the radius is halved to 4 MU, and so any units that are outside of that radius would require 2 ADCs for 1 command point. And then it gets even worse if you're actually in combat. In this example, J is in combat with K, H, the general, is fighting with them, and so his radius drops to 0. So if he wants to influence any unit even a millimeter away, he would need to use 2 ADCs to send 1 command point. So that's command range. How do you move commanders? There are 2 different rules for moving commanders. You can move them in the movement phase, and you can move them in the recovery phase, and that's treated slightly differently. In the movement phase, corps commanders actually cannot move unless they keep an ADC with them. So instead of allocating it out to the divisions, you'd need to keep one ADC to be able to move, whereas divisional generals move like irregular light cavalry in this phase. So mostly it's about 10 inches depending on the terrain. So that's in the movement phase, and then commanders also get to move in the recovery phase, and in this case both sides can move their commanders in this phase. So, but they can only move 4 inches, 4 mu, and the non-phasing player, so the player whose turn it isn't, must move first, and then the player whose turn it is then moves theirs 4 inches. So that's how you move commanders. And then commanders can also get killed, so look out for this table in the rules, which sets out how commanders get killed. Basically, you determine, depending on the quality of the general, how many dice to roll. So if your commander takes 3 hits in combat or 3 hits from shooting, he's likely to be killed. And if it's a corps or divisional commander, you roll 2 dice to kill him. If it's a brigade commander, so an attachment, it's 1 dice to kill him. And there are different times that they can be killed. So you can see along the top there, a commander can be killed while contacted, if he's contacted alone. So a unit moves through the commander will move out the way, but there's a chance to kill him. Obviously 3 hits from firing, as I mentioned, or 3 hits from combat. And the opportunity to kill is different depending on the situation that you're dicing for. So if they're contacted alone, obviously they can only be a corps divisional commander. So you'd roll 2 dice, and both dice need to have a 5 or more on them. Hits from firing, depending on whether rifles are involved or not. So it's easy to kill a commander if you've got a rifle involved. So this would be an attachment, in which case you'd need 2 5s if it was a corps or divisional commander, or 1 5 for a brigade commander. And if it's muskets or artillery fire, then it's 6s or more to kill. Well, 6s, 2 6s for corps and division, 1 6 for a brigade commander. And finally, hits from combat. So there are 3 different situations. If the unit's been broken and you're testing to kill the commander, or it's been caught in pursuit, you need 4s. So 2 dice needing 4s or more on both. So it's a lot easier to kill a commander when he's been caught in pursuit, or if the unit is attached to routes. Other retires would be 5s or more, and then any other result from combat. So if you didn't retire, if you could have won the combat but your unit took 3 hits, or you don't retire, then you need 6s to kill the commander on either 2 dice if it's corps or division commander, 1 if it's a brigade commander. But if your commander is killed, not all is lost. So lost corps and divisional commanders are actually replaced, but they come back at the end of the player's next recovery phase, and you place them with any surviving unit in his division. So yeah, they're not gone forever, but if they were skilled or exceptional, they always come back as competent. So that's not as good a thing. So that's it for commanders and command control, and the next episode we'll be talking about the assault phase.